सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओं. We have completed up to 27th sloka in chapter 4. Paramatma completed the Jnana portion up to 24th sloka, and then he started enumerating various sadhanas to prepare for Jnana Yajnam. Each sadhana or each discipline he called with a special name Yajna. Yajna means a special discipline in order to get oneself prepared or get oneself qualified for Jnana Yogam. There are 12 yajnas prescribed in this particular portion, starting from 25th sloka up to 34th sloka. So all these disciplines or yajnas are preparatory disciplines. Among them, there is one yajna called Brahma Yajnam. That yajnam is Atma Vidya. For that yajnam, the remaining 11 sadhanas are preparatory disciplines. In the previous class, we have covered 5 yajnas already. The 5 yajnas are the Brahma Yajna itself, Brahma Yajna or Jnana Yajna, in that one has to approach a Srotriya Brahmanishta Guru and then study Shastra for a long period, consistently for a long period. That Sravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, the threefold way of learning the Veda Vidya or Atma Vidya is prescribed in Brahma Yajnam. Brahma Yajnam is essentially knowing oneself in the real sense. Brahma Vidya or Atma Vidya or Jnana Yogam, all are synonyms. So here Paramatma prescribes Brahmagno. Brahmagno is that Brahma Yajnam one has to perform. Brahma Yajna means you have to offer your ego, the lower self, in the fire of Brahma, in the fire of knowledge, in the fire of Atma Vidya. So once you understand and assimilate Atma Vidya, you can revel in that Atma, and then automatically your yuga gets dissolved. Automatically your ego gets dissolved. This is what Brahma Yajnam means. And Brahma Yajnam is to support at a lower level. Brahma Yajnam is to support the Vedic studies, scriptural studies, and support a Vedic student financially. A Vedic Patasalas are there. We can donate to Vedic Patasalas and see that our Vedic education is protected and encouraged. So this is all Brahma Yajnam. Then comes the second one called Daiva Yajnam. The Daiva Yajnam is nothing but the daily ritual of puja, then your japam, and all kinds of divine activities. They come under Daiva Yajnam. Sandhya Vandanadi Kriyas. So, if you are having that Sandhya Vandanam, that is again Daiva Yajna. Every day we start our day with Karagre Vasate Lakshmi. So, like that, every moment in this life is a Daiva Yajna, a puja to God. You dedicate everything, every moment of your life unto God. So, as Daiva Yajnam, we are performing various pujas like Rudrabhishekam or Parayanam, Nitya Puja. Then you have a pilgrimage way, going to various pilgrim centers and visiting those temples. So all these things, they come under Daiva Yajna. Recognizing the presence of God and appreciating and worshipping the divine force. So this is what the Daiva Yajna means. So we have two yajnas, Brahma Yajnam and Daiva Yajnam. These are the two yajnas. And then the third yajnam is called Indriya Vishaya Bhoga Yajnam. Indriya Vishaya Bhoga Yajnam means, see, our eyes are seeing various things. The pictures and the colors, all those things the eyes report. Drusya Prapancham is experienced by the help of eyes. Similarly, the sounds, various sounds, musics, all these things are experienced by ears. So we have got 5 Jnanendriyas. All 5 Jnanendriyas, they report 5 different words. Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. All these experiences are given by these 5 Jnanendriyas. So, our Indriyas come in contact with the respective Vishaya Vastu. Vishaya Vastu means for eyes, the Drusyam or the scenes are the Vishaya Vastu. For ears, the sounds are the Vishaya Vastus. For skin, the touch is the Vishaya Vastu. Like that we have got 5 Vishaya Vastus and 5 Indriyas. So they always, Indriyas come in contact with Vishaya Vastu and then experience the world. So that means all Vishaya Vastus we offer unto the Indriyas. Vishaya Vastus are the oblations and Indriyas are Agnis. This is how you visualize, and we are offering all the Vishaya Vastus unto the fire of Indriyas. So Indriya Vishaya Bhoga Yajnam. Indriya Vishaya Bhoga Yajnam means when you offer these things, naturally when you have the divinity in every experience given by the Jnanendriyas, so you will be very careful in your usage of these Jnanendriyas. You don't have any indulgency, you don't have misuse of these Jnanendriyas. You don't misuse these Jnanendriyas. So all these Jnanendriyas, they will be properly channelized, and they are directed towards the spiritual things. So that way the eyes will see all auspicious things, the ears will listen to auspicious things. Like that, all Mangalakaram, all auspicious things only you will receive. The other things you simply ignore. This is what we call Indriya Vishya Bhoga Yajnam. So this is the third yajnam. The fourth yajnam is called the Indriya Samyama Agni or Indriya Samyama Yajnam. In the fire of control, Samyama Agni, we offer Indriyas. Indriyas are very powerful. They get glued up to certain things, especially the TV serials. People are addicted to various things like alcohol, then smoking. Like this, various habits are there which they are addicted to. So in order to ward off, you have to offer your Indriyas unto Samyama Agni. Samyama Agni means the control, the fire of control, the fire of regulation. So if you offer these Indriyas unto the fire of control, then your Indriyas will listen to you. If you say, don't see bad things, it will listen. If you say, don't listen to bad words, it will listen. So otherwise, people are so much interested in gossip. So they literally waste the daytime in unnecessary gossip and waste the time given by God. So this Indriya Samyamagni is a very important thing, which is called Damo Yajnam, the self-control or the sensory control. Sensory control it is called. Then self-control is twofold. One is called sensory control and mind control. This is the first part. Sensory control is called Damo Yajnam. This is the fourth yajna, controlling the Indriyas. Then mind control, Samo Yajna, or it is called the controlling of the mind. Mind is the real mischief maker. Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandhamokshayoho. Only mind can really help you in giving you a liberation, or it can also bind you if not checked, if not regulated, if not channelized. So we must be very alert, otherwise we will become a slave of the mind. One who becomes a slave of the mind is totally lost, and he is totally away from the spirituality. So we should be very careful with the mind and channelize the mind. We should not shut the mind. That is another wrong notion. In some schools, they advocate shutting the mind. Manonasanam they call it, or amanaskam. These are the words used in those schools. But Vedanta strongly prescribes, Vedanta strongly says, advocates, Manonasanam is not the solution. Because with thoughts only you can have the Atmanishta. If you totally blank the mind, you cannot have moksha. So, Manonasanam is not the solution for moksha. You have to win the game only through mind. Manojayam. This Manojayam you can do only through mind. With mind only you can remove the ajnana. Manasa eva anudrashtavyya. That is the Shruti Vakyam. Only with mind you can really understand the Atma. Therefore, the mind is very important faculty which can really help us in elevating us spiritually. Mind is the faculty which can help you grow spiritually. And behind all indriyas, behind all sense organs, the mind is the main thing. If mind blesses the indriyas, then only the indriyas function. So mind is a very important faculty. The sama yajna, or the regulation of the mind, is the fifth yajna we have in the list. This is what we have covered in the last class. So in the last class, we have covered 5 different kinds of yajnas. One is called Brahma Yajna, which is Atma Vidya. Then Daiva Yajna, your prayer to God and all divine works you take up. Then we have what is called Indriya Vishya Bhoga Yajna, that is experiencing various things by Jnanendriyas. That is a kind of yajna. Then fourth one is Indriya Samyama Yajna, the sensory regulation. Then Mano Samyama, Atma Samyama Yajna. Atma here is not Sachidananda Paramatma. Atma is mind. Atma Samyama Yajnam. That means the regulation of the mind. So this way we have 5 different kinds of yajnas. So 5 yajnas are the main thing. And by means of these 5 yajnas, we can achieve the spiritual growth. Then we proceed to the 28th sloka, which will propose another 5 yajnas, another 5 disciplines. Dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna tada pare, swadhyaya jnana yajnascha, yatayas samsita vratah. Anvayam. Apare samsitavrataah dravya yajnaah tapo yajnaah yoga yajnaah tatha swadhyaya jnana yajnaah tatha swadhyaya jnana yajnaah yatayaha santi. The others of right effort and of firm resolve are practitioners of charity as well as yajnas. Others of right effort and of firm resolve are practitioners of charity as yajna, austerities as yajna, yoga as yajna, and repetition and study of the scriptures as yajna. So 5 different kinds of yajna are prescribed here. The first one is called charity. The second one is called austerity or tapas. Then the third one is yoga. The fourth one is swadhyayam, parayanam. Fifth one is jnana yajna. So this way we have got 5 more yajnas prescribed in this particular sloka. The 6th one which is prescribed in this particular sloka is called Dravya Yajna. Dravya Yajna means Dana Yajna. Dravya means material. The varieties of charities, either in the form of money or in terms of material or in the form of knowledge. Sharing my knowledge with others without charging is also dhanam. It is called Vidyadhanam. Then sharing my time. It is not necessarily one has to give money only. You can, spend some time with sick people and talk some good words and, console them. That is also dhanam. So that way, dhanam can be, performed by everyone, and this is an essential yajna. Very, very essential yajna for every person. So, yajnadana tapah karma natyadyam karyameva tat. Yajnam, dhanam and tapas, at any cost, you should not give up. Especially for a gruhastu, one has to take up this dhanam as an essential aspect. A person was drowning in waters. So somebody wanted to hold his hand. So when he asked him to give the hand, drowning person is not willing to give the hand. So somebody said, don't ask him to give. You tell him, take my hand. When you say, take my hand, he will hold it. So immediately when the person says, you take my hand, the person held his hand and got rescued. So in his lifetime, he was not on giving side. He is always on the taking side. Even at the time of death also, he doesn't want to, give. So that is the attitude of some people. One person, he donated fans for a spiritual organization. So they were having the discourses in a hall where this person donated fans. And when he donated the fans, on each blade of the fan, he wrote his family members' names. Donated by so and so on each blade, so that everybody can watch and appreciate him for his dana. So when the meeting started, they were feeling sultry and they wanted to have the fan. When they switch on the fans, this donor gets up and he switches them off. Then when they ask him what is wrong with him, he said that if you switch on the fan, how can people see the names? So this kind of dhanam is no good. In this Bhagavad Gita only, we will come to know what are the various kinds of dhanam and how you have to perform dhanam and what is your attitude while doing dhanam. All these things are, discussed threadbare in one chapter called Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yogam, 17th chapter, very special chapter. So we have to do dhanam with a pious mind, to, share with others, not with a feeling that, you are doing some great thing. One discourse person, he gave discourse on various kinds of dhanams, and he wanted to test how far the people understood his message. So he asked one village person to get up and answer him. He said that suppose you have 10 acres of farm, what will you do? Then the villager said, I will donate 5 acres. If you have 2 bungalows, what will you do? I will donate 1 bungalow. If you have 4 cars, what will you do? I will donate 2 cars. Like that he is now boldly telling all these things. Then the Guru said, if you have 2 buffaloes, what will you do? I won't donate even 1. Then he got surprised. What is wrong with you when you want to forego, the farmland and cars and bungalows? You can't share with your buffalo. Then he said that those things I am not having, but buffaloes really I have. So this is how our dhanam will be. When it comes to dhanam, you don't really come forward. Our Swamiji says these are rich poor people. Rich poor people means you have all riches, but you are poor enough not to help others. So you are poor only. Though you have all riches, if you don't share your riches with a fellow being, that means you are poor. Rich poor people, according to Swamiji, Puja Swamiji. So this is what Dana Yajna means. Dhanam is a very, very important character in one's life. We have to feel that, we have got an opportunity to do the dhanam. So this is how a spiritual person should be. Then we have got Tapo Yajna. Tapas or austerity is an yajna. Austerity is an yajna means, what is austerity? Self-denial is called austerity or tapas. That means willful self-denial. To establish mastery over one's own organs. Like you take up Ekadasi Upavasam. Willfully, you don't take anything on Ekadasi. You don't eat anything. That is Ekadasi Upavasam. Then Aparigraha Vratam. Some people, they have a vow not to take anything from others. So this kind of self-denial is a kind of control exercised by oneself on their own faculties. Like, the Sayyappa Diksha, the persons who are in Diksha, they walk barefoot. So that's a kind of tapas. They're not talking lies is a tapas. Going uphill, all 7 hills by foot is a tapas. So this way, the self-denial is called a tapas. If you close the door and meditate, it is a tapas. On the contrary, if somebody closes the door from outside, it is not tapas. You get tensed up. Then you bang the door and you want to come out of the room. When somebody bolts from outside. So it is basically self-denial. Self-denial is the tapas. A willful self-denial. Then the yogam, Ashtanga yogam of Patanjali is also a yajna. We have got 4 different sheaths, koshas in our body, Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, then Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, all these koshas are there. For each one we have a kind of exercise. For Annamaya kosha we have got Ahara Niyamam is there. the discipline of taking food, what kind of food you have to take. Then we have Pranamaya kosam, we have got regulation of the prana. Manomaya kosa, we have got different kinds of meditations. Vijnanamaya kosa, we have got different studies. So this way, all four kosas, they can be regulated by taking up the corresponding activity. Then the fourth one, what is called Swadhyaya Yajna. Swadhyaya Yajna is what is called Parayanam. Parayanam is of two types. When you have a scriptural study, it is of two types. One is called the Shabda Pradana study, and other one is called Ardha Pradana study. In the beginning of the scriptural study, Guru prescribes one has to by heart the mantras or slokas and then try to follow the meaning. To study this Veda, if a particular Krishna Yajurveda is there, then it takes nearly some 10 years to by heart the entire thing with Swara. So that way, once you by heart that, then you can go to the Ardha part, the meaning part. So this is how the Swadhyayanam itself is, the Parayanam itself is a great spiritual practice. This will help one to concentrate and one to have the diksha and perseverance, and one can really have the grip of the mantras and slokas. So when Guru talks about a particular mantra, it will be easy for him to recapitulate and then try to understand. Now the books have come, so that kind of practice is slowly vanishing. Earlier system was to by heart, and then you have to by heart the entire Veda, by heart all 700 slokas of Gita. So like that people used to learn. So that was the system. They were not encouraged to write and bring books and all that. So that was the system. Swadhyayanam is basically a Parayanam. We have in our prescription, in our Sampradaya, we have 5 different things we have to do Parayanam every day, which is labeled as Swadhyayam. What are the 5 different things? One is called Rudram. The second one is Vishnu Sahasranamam. The third one is Taitriyam. Fourth one is Purusha Suktam. Fifth one is Bhagavad Gita. So this is what we have to study. In Taitriyam, 1 valli we can read. In Bhagavad Gita, 1 chapter we can read. That way, every day we have to do Swadhyayam, Parayanam. This Parayanam is very, very important. In Taitriyam, we have a special Anuvaka which emphasizes the Swadhyayam is very, very important. Rutam cha Swadhyaya pravachane cha Satyam cha Swadhyaya pravachane cha Tapascha Swadhyaya pravachane cha Damascha Swadhyaya pravachane cha Shamascha Swadhyaya pravachane cha Agnayascha Swadhyaya pravachane cha Agnihotrancha Swadhyaya pravachane cha अतिथेयश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च मानुषञ्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च प्रजनश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च प्रजातिश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च सत्यमिति सत्यवचाराधीतरः तप इति तपो नित्य पौरुषिष्टिः स्वाध्याय प्रवचने ये वेति नाको मौद्गल्यः तद्धि तपः. Swadhyayam and Pravachanam. Swadhyayam means Nitya Parayanam. Pravachanam means knowing the meaning and giving the teaching. Both are very important. Swadhyayam and Pravachanam. Tapascha Swadhyaya. Tapas and Swadhyayam both are very important. Damascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha. The sensory control and Swadhyayam both are important. Samascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha. The mind control and Swadhyayam. So every time the Guru is repeating Swadhyayam, that means the Swadhyayam is very, very important. Agnayascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha. Your Agni Karyam, your Nitya rituals, daily rituals and Swadhyayam. Agnihotrancha Swadhyaya. Homas and Vaidika Kriyas, all those things you do, and Swadhyayam also you do. Aditayascha Swadhyaya Pravachanacha. You entertain Aditi and Swadhyayam. Don't leave Swadhyayam. Manushancha Swadhyaya Pravachanacha. You help a human being. Do Manusha Yajnam, but Swadhyaya Pravachanam. Swadhyaya Pravachanam you have to do. Prajacha Swadhyaya Pravachanacha. Have family and have the progeny, but Swadhyayam. Don't leave Swadhyayam. Prajanascha Swadhyaya Pravachanacha. Enjoy your, family life, but don't ever leave Swadhyayam and Pravachanam. Prajatischa Swadhyaya Pravachanacha. Have your grandsons and, the expansion of your family, but don't ever leave Swadhyayam and Pravachanam. So that way, the Guru in Taittiriya emphasizes Swadhyayam. Then Shruti comes forward and it wanted to know, because there are other things along with Swadhyayam also were mentioned, it wanted to know which one is the top. So it pronounces which is the greatest thing. Then 3 rishis offered their opinion. One rishi by name Radhitaraha. He said Satyamiti Satyavacharaadhitaraha. Only talking Satyam is the topmost faculty or topmost practice or discipline. Then Tapayati Taponishta Paurusishtihi. There is another rishi by name Paurusishti. He said tapas, willful self-denial, is the most important discipline. Then Swadhyaya Pravachane Yeveti Nako Maudgalyaha. Then there is a rishi called Maudgalya. He said that Swadhyaya Pravachana is the topmost thing. Is the topmost discipline. Then Tadditapaha. Then Shruti coincided. Shruti also echoed along with this Maudgalya Rishi and said, yes, you are right. Swadhyaya Pravachanam Yeva Mukhyam. So, this is what we have, the Parayanam, Nitya Parayanam is the most important thing in spiritual life. This is called Swadhyaya. Then the Swadhyaya Yajnam, which is the 9th Yajna. Then the 10th one is called Jnana Yajnam once again. Jnana Yajnam already we have discussed in the beginning. If you remember, I said Daiva Yajnam, Brahma Yajnam, or Atma Vidya Yajnam or Jnana Yajnam. All are synonyms. Now once again Jnana Yajnam, is it a repetition? If there is a repetition, it becomes a dosham, punarukti dosham. It is not a repetition. In Mundakopanishad, if you remember, there are two kinds of vidyas, two kinds of studies that are prevalent in scriptures. One is called Paravidya, other one is called Aparavidya. So Paravidya means the knowledge of Atma, the knowledge of Brahma, the knowledge of oneself, the real knowledge of an individual. The reality of an individual is called Paravidya, which is called Brahma Vidya or Atma Vidya. Whereas Aparavidya is all other Vidya, other than Paravidya, whatever is the knowledge prevalent here, like physics, chemistry, then we have engineering, medicine, all these things, they can be called Aparavidya. In Vedic studies, we have what is called Vedas, Veda Angas, that is Veda Purva Bhagam, and Veda Angas. We have got Ayurvedam and then Jyotishyam, all these things, they are all Aparavidya. Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Jyotisham, Chandas, all these things are called the Aparavidya. Siksha means the science of phonetics, how to pronounce, how to use your swara. All this is given in a shastram called Siksha Shastram, the science of phonetics, scriptural phonetics. Kalpa means the way of doing a ritual. We have what is called Satyanarayana Vrata Kada, Kalpam. Kalpa means the procedure and the modus operandi of that vrata, how to do and what are the things required. All these things are prescribed, the know-how is given there, that is called kalpam, the way of doing, paddhati. Then Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakaranam. Vyakaranam is the grammar. Patanjali Vyakarana Sutras. This is Ashtadhyayi we have. So all this is Vyakarana. Then we have got Chandas, the meters. We have got various meters. All these are prescribed in that Chando Shastra. Bruhati, Pankti, Anushtup, Trishtup, like that we have various kinds of meters. The study of these meters is the Chandas Shastra. Then Niruktam is the study of etymology. What are the declensions we get, and how a word is formed from its dhatu. All these things are described there. We have, it is something like a dictionary, but it gives the knowledge of etymology also, not like a Nighantu. Niruktam is totally different from Nighantu, but somewhat like a Nighantu, like a dictionary. More like an encyclopedia, you can say. We have Aska Niruktam. So, all these studies, they come under Jnana. So we have 5 more different yajnas prescribed in this particular slokam. Those yajnas are Dravya Yajnam, means Dhanam, then Tapo Yajnam, the act of willful self-denial, then we have Yoga Yajnam, doing Ashtanga Yogam, then Swadhyaya Yajnam, Jnana Yajnam. So this way we have total 10 yajnas are covered. Then we have the 11th yajna, 29th sloka will see. Apane juhvati pranam prane panam tadapare pranapanagati rudva pranayama parayana. Apare, some other yogis, apane means in the inhalation they offer exhalation. In the fire of inhalation, the exhalation is offered. Apane juhvati pranam. Prane apanam tadapare. And pranam in apanam. The inhalation is offered in the fire of exhalation. This way, pranapana gati rudva. Both pranam and apanam, they have the regulation, they have a control on pranam and apanam. And such people are pranapana, pranayama parayana. They are the practitioners of pranayama. So this is the 11th yajna. 11th yajna is pranayama yajna. In pranayama yajna, what they do is the apane juhvati pranam. Apane means in the inhalation they offer exhalation. Offer exhalation means pranam is exhalation, apana means inhalation. This refers to puraka pranayama. Because you allow apana and stop exhalation. That means what? You take the breath and then hold it, which is called a puraka pranayama. Then in the same way, when you exhale, you don't inhale, and that is called rechaka pranayama. So this way we have what is called the kumbhaka pranayamam, rechaka pranayamam, then we have got anuloma viloma pranayamam, bastrika, all these things are there. So all if you do it mechanically, then they become a kind of exercise for health. But you can make it as an yajna. Yajna means you invoke God. There will be a count in holding your breath, and when you do your rechaka pranayama, when you empty your stomach, when you exhale and you hold the stomach like that for some time, there is a count. That count you can do it with a mantra. Some namam you can take. Suppose you have to hold it some 5 numbers. 5 times you chant the mantra. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Like that you can divinize. Then it becomes yajna. If you mechanically do it, it becomes exercise. It will be helpful for you. It is not denied. It is very much useful, and it is useful for your health point only. But if you divinize, if you make the whole thing as a yajna. If you visualize this as an yajna, then it will help you. In order to make it as an yajna, you can have the count by means of some mantra. You can start the pranayama with Om. So like that, you can divinize the entire pranayama as a spiritual practice. So the pranayamam is an yajna. The entire life is supposed to be so many breaths. There's a count for a lifespan. So when a person he practices pranayama, his lifespan increases. So that is what we have. And as I told you in the previous class, the mind and pranam, they are interconnected. Suppose you have a control on prana, you also have a control on the mind. Your mind is quiet. The pranayama quietens the mind. So automatically the pranayama yajna will lead to samo yajna. 30th sloka. Apare niyataharaha pranan praneshu juhvati sarvepyete yajna vido yajnat chapita kalmasaha. Apare niyataharaha pranan praneshu juhvati. Yete yajna vidaha sarve api yajna chapita kalmasaha. Apare niyatahara. So some people, they have control on food. They don't overeat. They will have absolute control on eating. So the food gives the metabolic energy for prana. So pranayama will help you in your metabolic activity. That means if you have the pranayamam, you are active. All the metabolic activity is due to pranam. Now pranam gets this capacity by food. So the control or regulation of food is offered unto pranam. This is one yajna. Regulation of diet. Offer the pranas into the fire of pranas. So this is one kind of ahara niyamam. Apare niyatahara. Niyatahara yajnam. Niyamita aharam. Taking a regulated food. You don't eat junk food and keep on eating. This is not the way. So yajna vidaha yajna chapita kalmashaha ete sarve api yajna vidaha. This way the sadhakas sarve api yajna chapita kalmashaha. They are free from sins. They are purified. They get purified by these kinds of yajnas. These disciplines will cleanse the antakarnas and prepare you for the jnana yogam. We have got 12 different kinds of yajnas narrated here. What are the 12 kinds of yajnas? If you look at them, the first one is called Brahma Yajnam, Daiva Yajnam. Then we have Indriya Vishabhoga Yajnam, Indriya Samyama Yajnam, Mano Samyama Yajnam. Then we have Dravya Yajnam, Tapo Yajnam, Yoga Yajnam, Swadhyaya Yajnam, Jnana Yajnam, then Pranayama Yajnam, Ahara Niyama Yajnam. So 12 yajnas are there. Out of the 12 yajnas, the Brahma Yajna is the final thing which will give you the paradigm shift. So keep the Brahma Yajna separately. The rest of the 11 yajnas, you can take one of them or two of them or combination of them and then practice these yajnas. They will help a person to get qualified for Jnana Yajna or Brahma Yajna. So the other 11 yajnas are the catalyzing yajnas in order to make sadhaka ready and refined for Jnana Yajna. So this is the scheme. Paramatma has given 12 different disciplines or yajnas so that these yajnas can be practiced and get oneself prepared so that one becomes ready and refined for Brahma Yajna. The explanation goes up to the 34th sloka. More we will learn in the next class. Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudatyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.